Procrastination isn't mere laziness. It is a profound state of psychological paralysis. It is that critical, debilitating moment when you confront a task of significance, and your perception of it transforms into something colossal and insurmountable, a monolithic monster whose shadow falls across your entire mental landscape. In that moment of overwhelm, the cognitive load feels so immense that your executive functions seem to short-circuit. The neural pathways that lead to action are blocked by a cascade of anxiety, fear of failure, and the sheer weight of anticipated effort. The only escape valve, the only perceived path to immediate relief, is to disengage, to postpone the confrontation, to reach for the dopamine hit of social media, to lose yourself in the busy work of minor tasks, to do absolutely anything but face the gargantuan entity you have created in your mind. This isn't a character flaw. It is a systemic failure of your cognitive framing. But what if the key to dismantling this deeply ingrained response was not found in a modern self-help book, but was forged in the brutal life-or-death crucible of 17th century Japan? What if the master key to unlocking your productivity was wielded by the greatest, most undefeated dueling samurai the world has ever known? A ronin, a masterless warrior, named Miyamoto Musashi, who carved his name into history through over 60 confirmed duels, often to the death, emerging from each one not only victorious, but psychologically untouchable. His name is legend, and his strategic genius, codified in the Book of Five Rings, offers us more than just historical fascination. The core of his combat philosophy, what we can translate as the cutting technique, is not a vague motivational metaphor. It is a precise, actionable, and devastatingly effective psychological system, meticulously designed for the singular purpose of killing the monster of procrastination here and now, in the complex world of 2025. To understand this system, we must first grasp its philosophical bedrock. In his Book of Five Rings, Musashi implores the warrior to perceive those things which cannot be seen. On the surface, this sounds mystical, but its practical application is razor-sharp. It means to develop a perception that pierces through the obvious surface of a situation to comprehend the underlying architecture, the hidden dynamics, the true essence that is invisible to the untrained eye. In the context of a duel, this meant that Musashi did not merely see an opponent holding a sword. He perceived the subtle shift in their weight that betrayed their intended strike. He saw the flicker of doubt in their eyes that revealed a weakness in their spirit. He comprehended the entire sequence of the coming fight in a single, intuitive flash, seeing not just the first move, but the last, before a single blow had been exchanged. He was a master of pattern recognition and strategic foresight, operating on a level that made his opponents seem like they were moving in slow motion. Now, let us apply this profound perceptual shift to your daily battle. Your procrastination, your avoidance, is your opponent in the modern dojo of your life. And in this duel, you are currently losing. You are being defeated before you even raise your weapon because you are only perceiving the monster's huge, terrifying silhouette. You are seeing the task in its entirety as a single, undifferentiated mass of complexity. The task, write the annual report, does not appear as a sequence of manageable actions. It materializes in your mind as a giant, armored warrior, its form obscured by the fog of research, data analysis, writing, and editing, all fused into one intimidating entity. The goal, get in shape, does not present itself as a series of daily choices. It stands before you as an impenetrable fortress, its walls built from the bricks of gym memberships, diet plans, sore muscles, and time commitment. You are frozen because you don't know where or how to strike. You are trying to fight the entire army at once, and the sheer scale of the conflict is psychologically paralyzing. You haven't yet learned to perceive that which cannot be seen, the critical, structural weakness in the task's very composition. Musashi's cutting technique is the precise answer to this modern psychological paralysis. This is not merely about breaking tasks down. It's about fundamentally changing how you perceive and engage with challenge itself. When Musashi faced multiple opponents, he never tried to fight them all simultaneously. He would position himself so that he was only ever engaging one at a time, creating a series of individual duels rather than an overwhelming melee. This exact strategic principle applies to your battle with procrastination. You must mentally raise your katana, your will and focus, and perform what in Japanese swordsmanship is called subjective cutting, the art of psychologically dividing what appears to be an indivisible whole into manageable components. Your goal is not to defeat the entire monster in one heroic, exhausting swing. Your true objective is to find its key structural weakness, the single point where the slightest pressure will cause the entire intimidating structure to collapse, and execute one perfectly precise cut that initiates this cascade. The critical question that enables this cutting motion is deceptively simple, yet it requires profound honesty to answer effectively. What is the one, very first, microscopic step that is absolutely undeniable, physically concrete, and requires virtually no creative or emotional energy to execute? This question is your sharpening stone for the blade of your intention. It forces you to move from the abstract realm of "I should" into the tangible world of "I am doing." The step must be so elementary, so basic, that resisting it becomes more mentally taxing than simply performing it. It exists beneath the radar of your resistance, in the domain of pure, automatic motion. Let's examine how this cutting technique transforms our perception of daunting challenges in practice. Consider the monster task, write the annual report. To the procrastinating mind, this appears as a mountainous terrain of research, data compilation, analysis, writing, editing, and formatting, all fused together into one terrifying ascent. The cut we apply surgically separates the first physical action from this mental mountain. It becomes, open a new document and write the title. Not the introduction, not the executive summary, just the title. This action takes less than 15 seconds. It requires no research, no deep thought, only the mechanical motion of your hands on the keyboard. Yet this single cut is profoundly powerful. It creates a container, a defined space where the rest of the work will eventually reside. It transforms the project from an abstract concept into a concrete file on your computer, a thing that now exists in the world. Now observe the monster task, get in shape. This goal typically collapses dozens of separate challenges into one intimidating monolith. Finding a gym, learning exercises, changing diets, dealing with soreness, finding time, maintaining motivation. The cut we apply ignores all these future complications and targets only the undeniable first physical motion. Put on my shoes and go outside for 5 minutes. You're not committing to a full workout, to a year of training, to any life-altering change. You're merely performing the most basic physical precursor, adorning your feet with appropriate footwear and changing your location. This action is so primitive that your sophisticated avoidance mechanisms have nothing to grasp onto. There is no debate to be had about whether you can put on shoes. It is an action well beneath the threshold of psychological resistance. Finally, examine the monster task, tackle the email inbox. A full inbox represents countless decisions, potential obligations, unresolved conversations, and hidden demands on your time. The very sight of the number 247 triggers avoidance. The cut we apply here is surgical in its precision. Open the email and reply to one, the simplest message. You are not tackling your email. You are responding to one email. You deliberately choose the simplest one, the newsletter, the automated notification, the straightforward query that requires a 2-sentence response. This isn't about productivity. It's about breaking the spell of avoidance by creating a single, completed micro-task within the larger, overwhelming whole. Do you see the profound psychological shift occurring here? We have systematically reduced vast, abstract, and frightening concepts into primitive, physical actions that exist almost beneath the level of conscious decision-making. You cannot have a philosophical debate with yourself about the merits of putting on shoes versus not putting on shoes. You cannot rationally argue against opening a blank document and typing a few words. These actions are so elementary that they bypass the cognitive resistance that complex tasks trigger. The moment of agonizing decision-making, the should I or shouldn't I paralysis, simply evaporates because the action required is too simple to warrant such high-level deliberation. Only pure, unthinking action remains. This reveals the true genius of Musashi's strategic mind, translated from the battlefield to the psyche. He understood that in any conflict, the appearance of unified strength is often an illusion. Every army, no matter how formidable, has a point of critical vulnerability, a keystone whose removal causes the entire structure to collapse. He didn't waste energy attacking the enemy's entire formation. He identified that single, crucial pressure point and focused all his power there. Similarly, you are not attacking the entire daunting task of getting in shape. You are surgically striking at the single point of tying your shoelaces. You are not battling the monster of writing a book. You are making the microscopic cut of writing one sentence. And this is where the most magical transformation occurs. The principle of inertia begins to work in your favor. In physics, an object at rest tends to stay at rest, but an object in motion tends to stay in motion. This law applies perfectly to human psychology. The monumental effort is in overcoming the initial static friction, in going from complete inactivity to even the slightest motion. Once you have taken that first, undeniable cut, once you have written the title, put on the shoes, or sent that one simple email, you have created motion. You are no longer at a standstill facing a mountain. You are already in motion on its slopes. The psychological barrier has been breached. After writing the title, you might find yourself effortlessly adding the date. After putting on your shoes, walking to the end of the driveway feels natural. After replying to one email, scanning the next one seems trivial. The cut creates a cascade of engagement, turning the monumental into the manageable through the irresistible power of initiated action. Your challenge for today begins not tomorrow, not in an hour, but in the 60 seconds following this video. This is where philosophy transforms into action, where ancient wisdom becomes modern practice. I want you to physically rise from your seat and retrieve a single piece of paper and a pen. This physical act is crucial. It marks your transition from passive viewer to active participant in your own transformation. Don't use your phone's notes app. The tactile experience of writing physically engages your brain differently, making your commitment more tangible and real. At the very top of this paper, with deliberate strokes, write these 3 words: the monster task. Beneath this heading, you will name your dragon. Be specific. Is it complete the quarterly financial analysis? Plan the entire product launch. Write the first chapter of my novel. Organize the garage. Give it a name. By giving it a name, you bring it out of the shadows of your mind and onto the physical battlefield of this page. You're no longer fighting vague anxiety. You're facing a defined opponent. Now, take a breath and pick up Musashi's sword. This isn't a physical blade, but something far more powerful, your discerning intellect. Look at your monster task and perform the precise cut. Ask yourself the most important question you'll consider today. What is the absolute smallest, most microscopic, completely undeniable first physical action that would represent forward motion? This cannot be start the project or make progress. It must be something so simple that resistance is impossible. If your monster is complete the financial analysis, your cut might be open the spreadsheet and label the first tab raw data. If it's write the first chapter, your cut is Open a new document and write the first sentence, even if it's terrible. If it's organize the garage, your cut is spend 5 minutes throwing away 3 obvious trash items. At the bottom of your paper, beneath your named monster, write the cut, and then clearly state this tiny, undeniable action. You have now created a contract with yourself. You have defined the enemy and identified the exact point of attack. Here is the non-negotiable part. You will execute this cut immediately, not after you check your messages, not after you get a coffee. You will do it the moment this video ends. The duration is irrelevant, whether it takes 30 seconds or 5 minutes. You are not doing this for the result. You are not trying to complete the entire task. You are performing a ritual. You are training your spirit, just as Musashi trained with his Bakken, not to win a specific duel, but to forge the unbreakable discipline of a warrior. You are building the neural pathway that says, when I identify a task, I take immediate action. This is about the process, not the outcome. This is about building the muscle of initiative that will serve you for the rest of your life. Understand this deeply. Procrastination is not just a bad habit. It is a dense, blinding fog that obscures your path forward, traps you in inaction, and muffles the call of your potential. Musashi's strategic cutting technique is the sharp, focused blade of light that slices through this fog, revealing the clear, manageable steps that were always there. And your conscious, directed will is the hand that grips and wields this blade. The power was always yours. You were just never shown how to properly grasp it. The era of fighting shadows is over. Stop swinging wildly at the vague, overwhelming shapes in the mist. It's exhausting and utterly ineffective. Today marks a new way of being. It's time to start cutting through tasks with precision, with strategy, with the calm, focused power of a master swordsman. Make your first cut now. If this single exercise, this immediate, tangible strategy, has given you more clarity and momentum than all the vague advice you've ever heard about productivity, then you understand the power of this channel. Here's how you make sure you don't lose this momentum asterisk. 1. Smash the like button right now. This tells the YouTube algorithm that this is a life-changing philosophy, not just background noise. It actively helps us reach other people who are stuck in the fog of procrastination and are desperate for a real, sharp blade to cut themselves free. Your click helps them find this path. 2. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Consider this your formal enrollment in the dojo. We have only just begun to draw the sword. Subscribing means you're ready for the next lesson, the next precise technique to master your mind, your time, and your potential. You don't want to miss the next video, where we'll deploy another timeless strategy to conquer another modern demon. The journey to mastering your mind is a series of precise cuts, not wild swings. Take the next step. Subscribe now.